Imagine driving through the Nevada desert, the sun blazing above, when suddenly you stumble upon streets frozen in time. Ghost towns that once thrived with miners, families, and wild frontier life now stand silent, their buildings crumbling, whispers of the past carried by the wind. From haunted saloons to abandoned mines, Las Vegas hides secrets few dare to explore. Join me as we step off the beaten path and uncover the eerie stories of Nevada's forgotten towns, where history, mystery, and ghostly echoes collide. If you enjoyed these scary and interesting stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. 1 Rhyolite Ghost Town, Beatty, Nevada. If you ever drive through the lonely desert outside Beatty, Nevada, you'll eventually stumble upon a place that feels frozen between two worlds. This is Rhyolite Ghost Town, once a booming mining settlement and now a haunting reminder of how quickly fortunes can vanish in the desert. Rhyolite began its story in 1904 when prospectors discovered rich veins of gold in the hills nearby. Within just a few short years, the town exploded with life. Imagine it, more than 8,000 people, saloons on every corner, hotels with grand ballrooms, a school for hundreds of children, even electricity and running water, luxuries unheard of in many places at the time. For a while, Rhyolite wasn't just surviving in the desert, it was thriving. But like so many mining towns of the American West, Rhyolite's glory was short-lived. By 1911, the gold rush had slowed, and investors pulled out. The same desert winds that once carried laughter and music now blew through empty windows and silent streets. By 1920, Rhyolite was all but abandoned, left to crumble under the relentless Nevada sun. Walking through the ruins today, you can still see the skeletons of what used to be. The Cook Bank building stands tall in broken grandeur, its 3 stories of stone and concrete now hollowed by time. The old jail sits in silence, its cells rusted and dark. Scattered foundations and weathered walls whisper of families who once built their dreams here, only to pack them up and leave when the gold ran dry. What makes Rhyolite especially haunting is how much of it still feels alive, even in its decay. The wide desert sky glows orange at sunset, casting long shadows across the ruins. If you close your eyes, you can almost hear the clatter of boots on wooden sidewalks or the distant rumble of a train arriving with fresh-faced dreamers chasing fortune. Some visitors even swear they've felt an unsettling presence, a sense that not everyone truly left when the town died. Yet, Rhyolite isn't just about ghosts and ruins. It's also about perspective. Standing there, surrounded by silence, you realize how fragile human ambition can be. In less than 20 years, Rhyolite rose from dust, reached incredible heights, and then collapsed back into dust again. It's a reminder that the desert has always belonged to the land, not the people who try to tame it. Today, Rhyolite is a popular stop for travelers heading toward Death Valley. Photographers love it, historians study it, and curious wanderers walk its streets trying to piece together the lives once lived there. And as the desert wind continues to whisper through broken windows, Rhyolite remains, not alive, not dead, but caught somewhere in between, holding on to the echoes of a past that refuses to be forgotten. 2 Nelson Ghost Town, Nelson, Nevada. Tucked away in the rugged canyons just a short drive from Las Vegas lies Nelson Ghost Town, a place where time seems to have stopped, and the desert has quietly reclaimed what humans once built. Most people rush past on their way to Death Valley or Lake Mead, unaware that this small cluster of buildings and ruins once thrived with miners, families, and the hum of daily life. Nelson began as a mining town in the early 1900s, when prospectors first discovered gold and silver in El Dorado Canyon. For decades, it was a hub of activity, the clanging of tools, horse-drawn wagons carrying ore, saloons filled with laughter and arguments, and small wooden homes tucked into the canyon slopes. Unlike the large boomtowns, Nelson never grew too big, but it had character. Its rugged isolation gave it a raw charm, and the miners who settled here were tough, resourceful people, willing to face the desert sun and unforgiving terrain for the chance of fortune. Today, walking through Nelson feels like stepping into a forgotten film set. Rusted equipment, corrugated metal shacks, and the remnants of mining operations scatter across the canyon floor. The most famous landmark, the old mine itself, still stands with weathered beams and rusted carts, hinting at the life that once pulsed here. Some say that at night, the wind whistling through the canyon mimics the voices of miners long gone, carrying tales of hardship, greed, and hope. Nelson is also famous for its connection to Hollywood. Over the years, filmmakers have used the ghost town as a backdrop for westerns and desert thrillers, drawn by its authentic ruins and eerie atmosphere. Yet, even with cameras rolling, there's a palpable sense of solitude that can't be replicated, the quiet intensity of a place where survival once depended on grit and determination. Visitors often report a strange feeling, as if the canyon itself remembers the people who lived there. The combination of sun-scorched rock, abandoned buildings, and the quiet hum of nature creates an almost surreal experience. You can imagine a miner pausing at his cabin window, looking across the canyon, wondering if the gold would ever be enough, or a child playing outside while their parents worked tirelessly in the mines. It's these human traces that make Nelson more than just a collection of ruins, they make it alive in memory, haunting yet fascinating. For those willing to explore, Nelson Ghost Town offers not just history, but perspective. It's a reminder of how people shaped the land and how quickly nature reclaims what was temporarily theirs. Each step on the dusty ground, each glance at the crumbling structures, is a connection to a time when ambition, risk, and survival defined every day. Even now, decades after the last miner packed up and left, Nelson remains, a quiet, enduring echo of a desert town that refused to be completely forgotten. 3 St. Thomas Ghost Town, Overton, Nevada. Hidden beneath the waters of Lake Mead lies the eerie reminder of a town that once thrived in the Nevada desert, St. Thomas Ghost Town. Few visitors realize that just a few decades ago, families walked its streets, children played in its yards, and the sound of daily life echoed through its simple homes. Today, when the lake recedes during droughts, the town's foundations, streets, and cemeteries emerge like a mirage from the desert floor, whispering stories of resilience, loss, and the unstoppable force of nature. St. Thomas was established in the mid-19th century by Mormon settlers, who carved a community out of harsh desert land. For decades, it was a small but bustling settlement. Families farmed the land, ranchers tended livestock, and a few businesses, a general store, a post office, and a school, served the close-knit population. Life here was tough but steady, and the town flourished in its own quiet way, far from the chaos of cities like Las Vegas. Everything changed in the 1930s when plans for the Hoover Dam were underway. Engineers knew that creating the massive reservoir would flood low-lying areas along the Colorado River. St. Thomas, sitting directly in the planned path, was doomed. Slowly, families packed their belongings and moved elsewhere, many of them reluctantly leaving behind homes and belongings they had spent generations building. By the late 1930s, the town was completely abandoned, and the waters of Lake Mead slowly swallowed its streets and buildings. Today, St. Thomas is a haunting sight. During droughts, foundations and crumbling walls peek through the lake's surface, revealing streets that once teemed with life. Photographers, historians, and adventurous visitors come to see what remains, tracing paths where children once played or merchants once walked. Some claim that on quiet mornings, when the mist rises off the lake, the outlines of homes seem almost alive, like the town is reluctant to let go of its past. Walking among the ruins, it's impossible not to feel the human story embedded in the desert sands. Each stone and wooden beam tells of perseverance. Families carving a life in the desert, communities building traditions, only to be overtaken by progress and the unstoppable force of water. The experience is equal parts awe-inspiring and melancholy. St. Thomas reminds us that even in the vast, arid deserts of Nevada, human lives leave indelible marks. While the town itself may no longer exist above water, its legacy survives in photographs, stories, and the occasional glimpse of ruins that rise from Lake Mead. Visiting St. Thomas is more than a sightseeing trip, it's stepping into history, feeling the echoes of a town that once was, and realizing that nature and time eventually reclaim everything, no matter how strong the human spirit. For Goldfield Historic Ghost Town, Goldfield, Nevada. Tucked in the heart of Nevada's desert, Goldfield Ghost Town stands as a reminder of the fleeting fortune and unyielding human ambition that once shaped this rugged land. At the turn of the 20th century, Goldfield was more than just a mining settlement. It was the largest town in Nevada, bustling with over 20,000 hopeful souls chasing the glitter of silver. Walking through Goldfield today, it's hard to imagine the chaos it once held. Saloon doors clanging, miners hauling ore, horse-drawn wagons rattling over wooden sidewalks, and townsfolk exchanging news from the general store. Hotels, a courthouse, banks, and even a few early electric streetlights gave Goldfield an air of modernity unmatched by other desert settlements. People came from all corners, drawn by the promise of wealth, adventure, and a new life in the Nevada desert. But the boom was fleeting. By 1910, the silver veins that had drawn so many vanished, and the town began its slow collapse. Fires, economic downturns, and harsh desert conditions accelerated the exodus. Families left behind homes, businesses shuttered, and the once bustling streets became silent. Today, Goldfield is partially restored but retains the aura of abandonment, a place caught between past glory and present decay. What makes Goldfield particularly captivating are the stories embedded in its ruins. Visitors often explore the old Goldfield Hotel, once a hub of social life, now echoing with the whispers of gamblers and travelers long gone. Rusted mining equipment lies scattered across the desert, and the remnants of wooden buildings lean against the sun-scorched earth, hinting at lives that balanced hope with hardship. Some say that the desert wind carries echoes of argument, laughter, and even the occasional haunting, keeping the memory of the town alive. Goldfield also tells a human story of resilience. Its inhabitants faced extreme heat, scarce water, and the unpredictability of mining life, yet they built schools, churches, and a community that thrived, even if only briefly. Standing amid the ruins, you can feel their determination and the dreams they chased, dreams that the desert eventually reclaimed. Today, photographers, history enthusiasts, and curious travelers visit Goldfield to glimpse a time when ambition could transform a barren desert into a thriving town overnight. Each building, street, and abandoned mine shaft tells a story of courage, greed, hope, and loss. The desert may be quiet now, but Goldfield's legacy echoes through the wind, reminding anyone who walks its streets that human ambition can rise spectacularly, yet can also fade just as quickly. Visiting Goldfield is like stepping into a live history lesson, where the line between reality and memory blurs, leaving you to wonder about the lives that once animated this desert town. 5 Belmont Ghost Town, Nye County, Nevada. High in the arid hills of Nye County, Nevada, lies Belmont Ghost Town, a place where time seems to have stopped, leaving only the whispers of the past. In the late 1800s, Belmont thrived as a silver mining hub, attracting prospectors, businessmen, and families hoping to carve a life from the unforgiving desert landscape. Today, its skeletal remains stand as a haunting reminder of ambition, resilience, and the fleeting nature of fortune. At its peak, Belmont was a bustling town of over 1,000 residents. Streets were lined with wooden sidewalks, saloons echoed with laughter and argument, and the town boasted a courthouse, hotels, and a schoolhouse. Miners toiled tirelessly in the nearby silver veins, their pickaxes and shovels shaping both the earth and the destiny of the town. Despite its remote location, Belmont had everything a community needed: commerce, entertainment, and a strong sense of camaraderie among its residents. But like so many mining towns, Belmont's prosperity was fragile. By the early 1900s, silver production declined, and families began to leave, taking their belongings and dreams with them. Fires swept through parts of the town, hastening its collapse. Slowly, the streets that once buzzed with life fell silent. Buildings decayed under the relentless Nevada sun, and the desert slowly reclaimed what had been taken from it. Walking through Belmont today, you can still feel the echoes of its former life. The courthouse ruins stand tall against the sky, a silent sentinel of law and order in a town now gone. Wooden sidewalks creak underfoot, and scattered foundations hint at homes where families once laughed, argued, and dreamed. Visitors often report a strange sense of presence, as if the people who lived here never fully left, their spirits lingering among the weathered walls. Belmont is more than just a ghost town, it is a testament to human ambition and endurance. The men and women who settled here faced isolation, harsh climate, and uncertainty, yet they built a community that thrived for a time. Standing among the ruins, you gain a sense of what life might have been like: the smell of smoke from a miner's stove, the clatter of wagons along wooden streets, the faint music from a saloon at dusk. Today, Belmont attracts photographers, historians, and curious travelers eager to glimpse a piece of Nevada's past. Its quiet beauty, set against the rugged hills, reminds us that human endeavors, no matter how ambitious, are temporary in the face of nature's vastness. Yet, through its ruins, Belmont continues to tell its story, of hope, struggle, and the impermanence of human dreams. 6 Tonopah Historic Mining Park, Tonopah, Nevada. In the quiet expanse of central Nevada lies Tonopah Historic Mining Park, a place where the echoes of a bustling silver town linger in the desert air. Today, it is partially abandoned, but during the early 1900s, Tonopah was the lifeblood of Nevada's mining boom, a thriving hub of industry, community, and dreams that sparkled as brightly as the silver beneath its feet. Tonopah's story began in 1900 when prospector Jim Butler discovered silver in the desert sands. Word spread quickly, and soon the town exploded with energy. Wooden sidewalks, saloons, hotels, and general stores lined the streets. Miners worked around the clock, extracting silver ore, while entrepreneurs opened shops and restaurants to serve the growing population. For a brief moment, Tonopah was the center of opportunity, attracting thousands of people willing to risk everything for the promise of wealth. But life in Tonopah was never easy. The desert was harsh, summers burned with relentless sun, and winters were unforgiving. Disease and accidents claimed lives, yet the townsfolk persisted, building a community that thrived despite adversity. The town became known for its electric street lights, theaters, and a courthouse, symbols of civilization amid the barren Nevada landscape. Today, walking through Tonopah Historic Mining Park feels like stepping into a time machine. Rusted mining equipment, abandoned buildings, and crumbling foundations are scattered across the desert, telling the story of ambition, struggle, and fleeting prosperity. Visitors often report a strange sensation, as if the past is pressing against the present, the distant clang of a miner's tools, the laughter of townsfolk drifting across empty streets. The ghost town is also a window into human resilience. Those who lived in Tonopah faced isolation and danger, yet they built homes, businesses, and relationships that defined the town's character. Even as silver veins ran dry and families moved on, the impact of their lives remained, etched into the buildings and the land itself. Tonopah is more than a historic site, it is a testament to human aspiration. Each structure, each artifact, whispers stories of people who dared to dream in the heart of the desert. Photographers, history buffs, and curious travelers walk its streets, exploring abandoned homes, old mines, and the rugged landscape that shaped the lives of so many. In Tonopah, the desert holds memory. It keeps the pulse of a town that rose and fell with the silver it mined. And even today, among the ruins and rusting equipment, one can feel the heartbeat of a community that, for a fleeting moment, lived fully against the odds, a ghost town, yes, but alive in spirit. 7 Pioche Ghost Town, Pioche, Nevada. Nestled in the rugged hills of southeastern Nevada lies Pioche Ghost Town, a place steeped in history, chaos, and the rugged spirit of the Old West. Today, Pioche is quiet, its streets largely empty, but in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, it was anything but peaceful. Known as one of Nevada's wildest mining towns, Pioche drew fortune seekers, gamblers, and outlaws alike, a town where life was cheap and survival demanded courage. Pioche's story began with silver discoveries in the 1860s. Miners flocked to the area, digging and staking claims, while merchants, saloon owners, and families followed, building a makeshift community in the desert hills. At its height, the town had thousands of residents, dozens of saloons, and a bustling economy fueled by silver mining. Yet, law and order were scarce. Pioche became infamous for its violent history. Shootouts were common, and it is said that more men died here from gunfights than from mining accidents. The town earned a reputation as the toughest town in Nevada, a place where tempers flared and justice was often personal. Walking through Pioche today, the remnants of its past are still visible. Weathered wooden buildings lean against the desert hills, mining equipment rusts under the sun, and the narrow streets hint at the hustle and bustle that once defined this place. Visitors often remark on the sense of history that hangs in the air. The silent stories of gamblers, miners, and families who risked everything in the pursuit of fortune. The old cemetery nearby holds the remains of many who met untimely ends, adding a somber tone to the town's wild legend. What makes Pioche especially fascinating is how the human spirit shaped it. Despite violence, isolation, and harsh desert conditions, the people who lived here built homes, businesses, and relationships. The town's history is a mixture of ambition, bravery, and tragedy, a reminder that frontier life was never easy, yet always compelling. Today, Pioche attracts history enthusiasts, photographers, and curious travelers who want to experience the raw energy of Nevada's mining past. Walking its streets, exploring abandoned buildings, and imagining the chaos of its heyday gives visitors a visceral connection to history. Even in its silence, Pioche tells a story of survival, greed, courage, and the relentless pursuit of opportunity. Pioche Ghost Town may be quiet now, but its legacy is loud, a testament to the men and women who dared to live on the edge of civilization, leaving behind a place that continues to captivate and haunt the imagination. 8 Goodsprings Ghost Town and Pioneer Saloon, Nevada. Just a short drive southwest of Las Vegas lies Goodsprings Ghost Town, a small settlement with a surprisingly rich history and an aura that has drawn curious travelers for over a century. At first glance, it may seem like just another abandoned desert town, but step inside its streets or the famous Pioneer Saloon, and you quickly realize that Goodsprings is alive with stories, some of them whispered, some of them unsettling. Founded in the early 1900s as a mining town, Goodsprings grew steadily thanks to nearby gold and silver veins. Families moved in, miners worked long hours in the dusty hills, and the town developed a sense of community despite its remote desert location. Schools, churches, and businesses emerged, supporting a population that thrived on hard work, ambition, and the promise of opportunity. But like many mining towns, Goodsprings faced challenges. Harsh desert conditions, economic shifts, and the eventual decline of mining led to a gradual exodus. Yet unlike other towns that vanished completely, Goodsprings retained a heartbeat, largely thanks to its Pioneer Saloon, built in 1913. The saloon became a gathering spot for residents and travelers, its wooden floors creaking with decades of stories, tales of miners, gamblers, and pioneers who lived, loved, and sometimes met tragedy here. Today, the town is quiet but full of life in a different sense. Visitors who wander its streets report feeling an unusual energy, as if the walls themselves hold memories of the people who passed through. Photographers are drawn to the weathered buildings and vintage signs, while paranormal enthusiasts are fascinated by the Pioneer Saloon, where reports of ghostly footsteps, unexplained noises, and fleeting shadows have made the town a minor hotspot for the supernatural. Walking through Goodsprings, it's easy to imagine life a century ago. Children running along dusty streets, miners hauling ore, townsfolk gathering in the saloon for an evening of laughter and music, all of it juxtaposed against the quiet desert that eventually reclaimed most of the town. This blend of real human history and lingering mystery gives Goodsprings a unique charm among Nevada's ghost towns. Goodsprings Ghost Town is a reminder that the desert holds both life and memory. While the mines have long since closed and the streets are mostly empty, the stories of ambition, hardship, and community remain. Each creaking floorboard in the Pioneer Saloon, each weathered wall, is a testament to the resilience of those who lived here, and perhaps a subtle invitation to visitors to step back in time and feel the whispers of history themselves. 9 Candelaria Ghost Town, Mineral County, Nevada. Hidden in the remote desert of Mineral County, Nevada, lies Candelaria Ghost Town, a place where the echoes of silver mining and human ambition still linger. Once a thriving settlement, Candelaria now stands quiet, its buildings weathered by time and the harsh desert sun, offering a glimpse into the lives of those who dared to dream in the Nevada wilderness. Candelaria's story began in the late 1800s when prospectors discovered silver in the surrounding hills. The town quickly grew as miners, merchants, and their families settled nearby. Wooden buildings sprang up, including a general store, saloons, and homes, forming a tight-knit community amidst the desert isolation. Life in Candelaria was far from easy. Harsh weather, scarce water, and the constant risk of mining accidents shaped every day. Yet the residents persevered, driven by hope, opportunity, and the lure of silver that promised prosperity. At its peak, Candelaria boasted hundreds of residents, all connected by the challenges and camaraderie of frontier life. Children attended small local schools, merchants provided goods and news from the outside world, and the town's social hubs, mainly saloons and gathering halls, buzzed with conversation, laughter, and occasional disputes. It was a rugged yet vibrant community, emblematic of Nevada's mining era. But as the silver veins dwindled and the economic viability of mining declined, families began to leave, gradually abandoning their homes and businesses. Fires, desert storms, and neglect further reduced Candelaria to ruins. Today, travelers who venture to this remote location can still see remnants of foundations, rusted mining equipment, and the skeletal remains of wooden buildings that once formed the town's core. The town's isolation and desolation give it a haunting atmosphere, where the wind through broken structures seems to carry whispers of the past. Candelaria is particularly captivating for those who appreciate history and human endurance. It stands as a testament to the risks and rewards of frontier life, a place where dreams could soar, yet vanish as quickly as the desert sun sets. Walking among the ruins, one can almost picture miners trudging back from the hills, families gathering for meals, and the day-to-day struggles that defined life in this forgotten corner of Nevada. For photographers, historians, and curious explorers, Candelaria offers both a haunting experience and a deep connection to Nevada's mining heritage. Its quiet streets and abandoned buildings serve as a reminder that human ambition, no matter how fervent, is fleeting against the vastness of nature. Yet in the ruins, the spirit of the town survives, a silent witness to the lives, struggles, and dreams of those who once called it home. 10 Delamar Ghost Town, Lincoln County, Nevada. Hidden deep in the remote desert of Lincoln County, Nevada, lies Delamar Ghost Town, a place once infamous as the Widowmaker for the deadly silver mines that defined its history. Today, the town stands silent, its abandoned buildings and crumbling ruins a haunting testament to ambition, danger, and the human cost of chasing fortune in the Nevada desert. Delamar's story began in the late 19th century, when rich silver deposits were discovered in the surrounding hills. The town quickly grew, attracting miners, entrepreneurs, and families seeking wealth and opportunity. At its height, Delamar had hundreds of residents, bustling streets lined with wooden sidewalks, saloons, general stores, and boarding houses. Yet beneath the surface, the mines were treacherous, unstable shafts, toxic dust, and the constant risk of collapse made every day a gamble with life itself. Life in Delamar was harsh and often brief. The miners worked long hours, their bodies exposed to extreme heat, accidents, and disease. Many men did not survive their first few years underground, earning the town its grim nickname. Families endured alongside them, carving homes and routines out of the unforgiving desert, clinging to hope while the mines demanded more than they could give. Yet despite the dangers, the town thrived, if only temporarily, fueled by human ambition and the glitter of silver. Today, Delamar is a ghost town in every sense. Walking its dusty streets, visitors encounter the skeletal remains of buildings, rusted mining equipment, and foundations of homes long since abandoned. The old saloons and stores echo with memories of voices, footsteps, and laughter that no longer exist. The desert wind carries a haunting sense of history, reminding visitors that every structure and artifact represents a human story, dreams pursued, risks taken, and often lives lost. What makes Delamar particularly striking is its raw, unfiltered sense of danger and determination. Standing amid the ruins, one can imagine the tension of miners descending into dark shafts, the quiet bravery of families maintaining households under extreme conditions, and the fleeting moments of joy and community that made life in such a perilous place meaningful. It is a reminder that ambition often comes with a price, and the desert has a way of reclaiming what humans briefly hold. For adventurers, historians, and storytellers, Delamar offers an unparalleled glimpse into Nevada's mining past. Its haunting atmosphere, combined with its historical significance, makes it one of the most compelling ghost towns in the region. The town may be empty, but its legacy endures, in the ruins, in the desert wind, and in the stories of those who lived, struggled, and sometimes perished chasing the elusive promise of silver.